Welcome to Beyond Belief, where ordinary lives meet the extraordinary movement of God. Here we explore the moments when faith becomes more than an idea, when it becomes a decision. Today, we're talking about a moment every believer eventually faces: the tension between God's calling and our fear. Because when God invites us to step beyond comfort, our natural response is often hesitation. This is episode 4, The Crisis of Belief, when God calls beyond comfort. Imagine this. You're living a normal, comfortable life, routine, predictable, safe. And then God calls. Suddenly, the situation feels bigger than you. The challenge feels impossible. The risk feels too high. That tension between what God asks and what we feel capable of is what I call the crisis of belief. Picture a climber standing at the edge of a cliff, rope in hand. Behind him, safety. Ahead of him, the climb. Fear whispers, "Stay where you are." But another voice speaks, "Step forward. I'm with you." That moment, standing between fear and faith, is where belief becomes real. Faith begins at the edge of fear, not in the middle of comfort. I remember a time when God asked me to step into something I didn't feel ready for. I wanted clarity. I wanted confirmation. Honestly, I wanted certainty. Instead, God asked for courage, trust, and obedience. My reaction was simple. God, I can't. This is too big. I'm not enough. But over time, I discovered something powerful. God doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. In Exodus 3, Moses asks God a similar question. "Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and bring the Israelites out of Egypt?" Moses saw his weakness, but God gave him a promise. "I will be with you." Not strategy, not a detailed plan, just his presence. Think about a rookie firefighter arriving at their first emergency. The flames are real. The danger is overwhelming. But they step forward anyway, guided by their training and supported by their team. Step by step, they grow into the role. God's calling often works the same way. We grow while we obey. And the truth is, we all face moments like this. Moments where God asks us to do something uncomfortable. Maybe it's speaking to someone we're afraid to approach. Maybe it's forgiving someone who deeply hurt us. Maybe it's stepping into leadership, ministry, or a new season of life. Imagine a teacher who feels nervous about sharing encouragement with a struggling student. One small conversation, one prayer, one moment of courage, and suddenly life begins to change. God often moves through small acts of obedience. God calls beyond comfort because that's where faith grows. When we continue reading Exodus 4, we see Moses still wrestling with fear. He lists excuse after excuse. "I'm not capable. I'm not persuasive. I'm not the right person." But notice how God responds. He doesn't shame Moses. He addresses each fear with patience. Because God never calls us without also providing presence, power, and purpose. Moses says, "O Lord, I have never been eloquent. I am slow of speech and tongue. And God replies, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Now go. I will help you speak and teach you what to say. Here's the powerful truth. God equips us for the call, not before the call. Our weakness becomes the stage where His power is revealed. Imagine a young pastor stepping into leadership for the first time. He feels unprepared, inexperienced, and overwhelmed. But through prayer, guidance, and obedience, God strengthens him step by step. God's strength shines brightest in our weakness. Picture Moses again, standing at the edge of the desert, staff in hand, Pharaoh waiting ahead, an entire nation depending on him. Fear fills his heart, and God speaks just 4 words. I will be with you. One sentence, but it changes everything. Because when God's presence enters the story, fear loses its power, and hesitation turns into courage. The moment between fear and faith is where destiny is written. So let me ask you something. Where might God be calling you beyond comfort? Maybe it's a conversation you've been avoiding. Maybe it's a step into ministry. Maybe it's a decision that feels far bigger than you. One act of obedience can create a ripple effect. One step forward can impact families, communities, even generations. As Philippians 4:13 reminds us, I can do all things through Him who gives me strength. Fear doesn't disqualify you, but refusing obedience might. God simply looks for the willing hearts. History is full of ordinary people who answered extraordinary calls. Moses, Peter, Mary, Abraham. None of them felt ready, but they said yes. And that yes changed history. Because when you step beyond comfort, God steps in with power. So here are 3 questions for this episode for you. Where is God asking me to step beyond comfort? What fear might be holding me back? And how can I respond with faith instead of hesitation? Pray the simple prayer this week. Lord, show me where you are calling me. Give me the courage to step beyond fear and walk in obedience. And now, may you step forward, even when fear whispers, stay back. May you hear God's voice clearly, above every doubt. May courage rise in your heart and faith guide your steps. And may your yes bring hope, healing, and transformation to the world around you. Thank you for listening to Beyond Belief. Share this episode with someone who needs courage today. Remember, your crisis of belief may be the very doorway to God's extraordinary work. God bless.